I'm a mother of two. My biological daughter, 22, and my stepdaughter, 23. Both girls grew up together and my husband passed away years ago. My stepdaughter has a competitive personality. She's always in race with my daughter in everything from simple achievements like getting higher grades to bugger achievements like graduating, owning a car, getting engaged first. My daughter doesn't care about being first or last. Not only is she not the competitive type, but she's also non-confrontational, so I sometimes find it necessary to step in and tell my stepdaughter to stop making her sister feel like she's in a race with her and complaining about stuff my daughter got to do first. My daughter got engaged when her stepsister has already been engaged and for 8 months. The problem began when my daughter announced her wedding date despite being engaged for just 2 months. My stepdaughter didn't like that and tried to get ahead and plan her wedding as soon as possible, but couldn't find a venue with a date earlier than my daughter. My stepdaughter tried convincing my daughter to slow down and put off the wedding, but it's impossible since everything has been set. My daughter is getting married at the end of August. She bought a $700 wedding dress that me and my stepdaughter saw. My stepdaughter got mad and had meltdown and ghosted us for a week, then came to visit while my daughter was staying with me acting calm and nice. She excused herself to the bathroom when we had dinner, then came back and said her fiancé was outside and she needed to leave. It was strange that she left in a hurry. My daughter entered her room and found her wedding dress cut to pieces from below to the waist. We were in dismay. We figured it was my stepdaughter who did this, since she couldn't do anything about the face my daughter was getting married before her. My daughter broke down. I confronted my stepdaughter in front of her fiancé, and she denied and yelled at me. I told her I knew she did it and handed her the bill for the dress she ruined out of spite and demanded she pay for a new one. Her fiancé picked an argument and got everyone involved after I threatened with court. My stepdaughter then apologized, blaming it on mental issues, but said she can't use the wedding money to pay my daughter $700. They tried talking me into paying, then they pay me in a matter of months, or asking my daughter to postpone till after my stepdaughter's wedding, but I didn't accept since my daughter then will have to lose more. It's been days, and they're trying to negotiate. Am I the idiot? In case it's relevant. The wedding dress was paid for by me as a gift for my daughter, and because the damage took place at my house, then I feel I should be doing something about it. Not the idiot. Give them an ultimatum. They pay, or the destruction of property is reported to the police. In a lot of places, 700 is in the felony range. Hopefully, that will drive home the seriousness of the crime. Your stepdaughter acted out of spite and needs to face consequences. Especially considering that stepdaughter is still bringing up having her daughter postpone her wedding as a solution to the ruined dress. That doesn't exactly sound like the suggestion of someone feeling remorse. This is beyond competition. There's something seriously wrong with your stepdaughter. Either way, she has to be uninvited to the wedding. There's a good chance she'll try something else. Maybe have security present. For the dress, tell her she either pays up or you press charges or take her to small claims court. And maybe have cameras installed. Even people with mental illnesses need to understand that actions have consequences. She needs to repay her stepsister for the dress and get therapy. She can work out a payment plan if her budget is that tight. Also, do not let her near anything that has to do with your daughter's wedding to the point of uninviting her. If she's capable of destroying her sister's wedding dress, she's capable of destroying the ceremony or reception. A little bit of background. I'm named after my mother, just like she's named after hers, and also just like my mom and hers, she and I do not have a good relationship. Pretty much never have as far back as I can remember. So when I got pregnant with a girl, I very deliberately gave her a different name. The context of the name is also key, because it's a book character whose epitaph is curse breaker, as in I will do anything to break the curse of horrible mother-daughter relationships in my line. My mom doesn't know that part, but my dad does, and he supported my decision. My mom got really buttered when I told everyone what my daughter's name would be. So, my daughter was born almost 4 years ago, and I think my mom has pronounced her name correctly less than a handful of times. An example using wrong names is my daughter's name is Sierra, but my mom says Sarah. Every single time. It's not even like my daughter's name is difficult to say, it's literally 2 syllables, and there's not weird letters that we don't use in English or anything like that. At the beginning, I nicely tried to walk her through the pronunciation, and she could say the syllables correctly and then could say the name correctly. Until the next time. When I started getting upset about it, her excuse was, "You know me, I just don't pronounce words right," in an aw shucks kind of way, but like, my nephew, one of her grandsons, is named after a Norse god and she has no trouble pronouncing his name, so what is it about my daughters that's so difficult? Things came to a head a couple months ago when we got into an argument about it and she said, "This wouldn't even be a problem if you had named her our name." There it was. I'd had my suspicions, but now it was confirmed. My mom is so petty that she purposefully mispronounces her own granddaughter's name because I didn't use ours. Here's where I may be the idiot. Now every time she says my daughter's name is Sarah, I immediately say, "Who's Sarah?" with a straight face and won't move on until she says the name correctly. She scoffs or gets mad, but I don't care. It's been 4 years. Not to mention how just insanely disrespectful it is to mispronounce anyone's name, let alone your own family. So, am I the idiot for choosing the pronunciation of my daughter's name as my hill to die on? Not the idiot. As your daughter gets older, this will become a form of abuse. Not only that, but this is a good boundary to draw for your mother to respect both you and your daughter. The fact that your mother gets mad is a good sign that what you are doing is making an impact on her. I think you found a fantastic way to deal with her. A way to turn her own game against her, but innocent enough for you to look good. Not the idiot, but why are you still interacting with your mom? In your post, you say you don't have a good relationship. So why have you put up with her mispronouncing your daughter's name for the past 4 years? I agree with you that it is petty and disrespectful of your mom to mispronounce your daughter's name. I also think it could be damaging to your daughter that her grandmother can't or won't pronounce her name correctly. She is purposely doing something that is mean and dismissive to your daughter just because she wasn't named after her. Is your mom really worth having in you and your daughter's life? Not the idiot. Your daughter's at risk of getting a complex from her horrible grandma. Maybe point that out to her. Or start doing it to your mom, on top of the Who's Sarah game. Doesn't matter that you have the same name. If she wants to complain about it, remind her that she clearly doesn't care about mispronouncing her granddaughter's name, so why should you? I am 16 and the middle child of 3 siblings, 18 and 13. My younger brother is severely autistic and literally is unable to function on his own, so here lies heavily on our dad, 46. He isn't able to cook or clean or barely talk like a normal person, which has put a strain on our dad, who already has some health issues. Our dad has recently started looking into other options for when he dies for my brother to go to. He's very hesitant about looking into care home options because he thinks that my brother will feel abandoned, but I guess he knows that it's pretty much his only option. I was sitting with him while he was going through some options yesterday. I was watching TV and not even involved in the process because I don't see why he's so stressed, because I doubt my brother will notice when he looked up and began to say, "My name, when you're older, how would you feel?" I knew where this was going. I'd been waiting for him to ask me this. I knew he would be selfish enough to ruin my life just because he doesn't want my brother going to a care home. I told him, before he could finish asking a question he knew the answer to, that I would rather die than have to look after my brother. This made him upset enough apparently for him to get up and leave. My older brother, he'd been in the room, told me not to act like such an idiot about it and told me it was an idiot thing for me to say, even though I told him that our dad needed to be told a firm no before he got it into his head that he could convince somebody in the family to take care of our brother. Everyone sucks here. OP worded a refusal in the worst possible way. Dad went straight to his only female child to ask her to look after her brother, and older brother seemingly does not grasp the hypocrisy of telling his sister off for refusing to take care of their brother in the future, but not volunteering himself. I do find the way OP talks about her brother a bit heartless, but I can also not argue that I know what it is like to be a teenage girl in her circumstances. Not the idiot. I mean, you could have declined more politely, but you might genuinely rather die than take on that responsibility. Your brother is not your son. You have a life to live. I have 2 stepsons, and the elder has severe autism. Their bio mom has been telling the younger son that he will have to take care of his older brother when he is an adult since he was 3 years old. He said to me, "I won't even have a life when I grow up, I'll just have to take care of my brother." That kind of responsibility shouldn't be placed on a teenager or kid. That's enmeshment. I'm sorry you're going through this. I've also worked with many individuals with disabilities, and there are plenty of great residential services for individuals with disabilities. You're the idiot. You're fully within your right to say no to signing on for a lifetime of caretaking for your brother. However, your dad was simply asking how you'd feel about it. Before he could even finish, you cut him off and shut him down ridiculously callously. It honestly sounds like you don't even care about your brother when you say things like, "I don't know why he's so stressed because I doubt my brother will notice." You really don't think your brother would notice that he's in a new location and everyone he's known his whole life isn't there anymore. You're not the idiot for saying no, but how you said it and how you think of your brother shows major entitlement. I'm 37, the oldest of 4 boys. The subject of this post. Tom, 29, is the youngest and was recently married. Tom has always been the cheapest, most selfish, dishonest, and self-centered person I've ever known. If he wasn't my brother, I wouldn't have anything to do with him. I love him, but I really dislike him, and I avoid being around him if possible. The straw that broke the camel's back was 6 years ago when my mother passed away, and we found out he has gone into her room and taken some jewelry meant for another of our brothers and pawned it. We only found out because he had left his wallet out at my parents' house, and the pawn ticket was visible. Since then I would describe my feelings to him as detached indifference. When my wife and I got married 2 years ago, he was of course invited with a +1, not his new wife. My wife comes from a really loving, thoughtful and generous family and hadn't understood why my 2 other brothers and myself didn't really care for Tom, even after a couple Christmases where she had bought him gifts and he didn't reciprocate. I've told her over the course of our relationship to expect nothing from him and you won't be disappointed, but once it was over she was upset that neither Tom or his +1 even bothered to give us a card. Fast forward to last month and Tom got married. My dad, who I think dislikes my brother's behavior although he would never say it, contributed to the cost wedding as did Tom's new in-laws. My wife wanted to buy something off of their registry or contribute to a honeymoon fund they set up for around $250, which is usually our standard gift amount, but I refused. I told her I'm not going to reward his thoughtlessness and spend that much money on him. My wife asked me not to create drama, and I said we'll give them a gift, but it's sure not going to be $200. In the end we showed up with a nice card and a gift-wrapped box of 6 personalized mason jars that cost about $25. 2 days ago Tom's new mother-in-law called me and asked if mine and my wife's gift got lost in the mail. I've never spoken to this woman before since the wedding. When I told her no, she said the dinner alone was at least $125 per person and that giving a gift worth $25 was extremely rude and that she expected more from Tom's brothers. I told her that I felt the same way about Tom and that my wife and I gave him more than he gave us at our wedding. She then told me that since I'm the most successful out of all of my brothers, her daughter and Tom had been expecting at least $1,000 from my wife and I for their honeymoon and that she expected us to do right by them. I told her to piss off and hung up. My wife is now upset at the drama and says we should have just given them the $200 like she originally wanted. My dad told me that Tom is angry at me and thinks I'm a jerk, but my dad shrugged his shoulders and told Tom that I was right about him not even giving a card for my wedding. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You've never spoken to this woman outside the wedding and she had the nerve to demand $1,000 to do right by her. I was really hoping that she would have been embarrassed and disgusted for calling you rude after you told her your brother got you nothing at your wedding, but nope, she just doubled down. The entitlement is astronomical. I would recommend just cutting Tom out, low contact at least. Sounds like all he does is take and cause drama, and now there are 2 of them. Not the idiot. Looks like Tom's new mother-in-law is as entitled as he is. Don't worry, I'm sure she will be up Tom's butt for the remainder of her life, or the rest of Tom's marriage, whichever comes first. As for what to do about this, I would go nuclear and cut Tom and his new mommy dearest off entirely. Block numbers, remove from social media, tell parents you won't be attending joint gatherings with him. This is incredibly rude behavior and she wouldn't even know about the gift if Tom and wife didn't mention it first. Not the idiot. Stealing from his dead mother. I would have called the police, got every piece of jewelry back, and pressed charges. I don't care if he is your brother. What he did is the sign of a psychopath. press charges. He will constantly push boundaries. As for the wedding gift, I would only give him a card with a note. Please accept the jewelry you stole from our dead mother and pawned as a wedding gift from us. It was worth a lot more than we would have gifted you as a wedding present. Good luck. My mother-in-law is the worst. She is just a total nightmare and has been for years. When mother-in-law was dating her now husband, she wanted to get married badly. She is a huge perfectionist who was embarrassed about her divorce, embarrassed using the title boyfriend, partner, whatever. She wanted marriage as soon as possible. My best friend Jessica knew all about this and knew lots of details of how mother-in-law treated me. Jessica is a nurse and mother-in-law's then boyfriend went to urgent care, and when they called him, mother-in-law was going to go into the room with him. Jessica said since she isn't his wife she should wait outside. Mother-in-law replied by calling her a stupid idiot, saying that isn't hospital policy and mother-in-law would know because she is a doctor and Jessica is just a nurse. Mother-in-law then called her ugly, an underachiever, and made fun of her for working at horrible urgent care. Jessica ended up crying in front of the patients and was devastated. I called mother-in-law on it right away, but she was like meh. Well, now we are getting married and Jessica is going to be my maid of honor. I told mother-in-law she cannot come to the wedding unless she apologizes and clears the air. Mother-in-law said she isn't doing that and it isn't her fault as Jessica is insecure. Now I guess she isn't coming and the extended family is all weighing in and calling me the idiot. Edit, Jessica made up all the policy thing. Anyone could go in unless he objected. Everyone sucks here. Jessica deserved what she got. She decided to bully your mother-in-law while doing patient care. Mother-in-law shouldn't have called her names. She should have reported her and ensured she could no longer work as a nurse. Jessica took something that had nothing to do with her and let her color how she treated a patient and his family members. Denying a patient someone to comfort them and handle information is terrible nursing, and you know it. You're the idiot. Your friend came at your mother-in-law, well presumably she was worried about someone she cared about and you want her to apologize. I would never marry someone who treated my mom like this, and I can only guess you must be super hot for your fiancé to overlook such a huge red flag. Since looks don't last, I can see karma biting you hard in a few years when you're in the same situation your mother-in-law is in. Since your friend Jessica made up that hospital policy in order to bully your mother-in-law while her boyfriend needed to be treated in the urgent care, your mother-in-law owes Jessica zero apologies and Jessica is lucky mother-in-law didn't file a complaint against Jessica. Added, Jessica sounds like a horrible nurse, using her personal feelings about patients and their loved ones to treat them unprofessionally at the hospital she works at.